Welcome to our next Get to Know a Teacher interview. We have a special guest. We have Winkley's counselor, Mrs. Terri Hinojosa, and we're so excited to have her. In fact, she has set a time aside on her Saturday to interview with us because she is usually so busy throughout the week. And we are leading into a special week where this video will air that is actually the Counselor Appreciation Week. So we can't wait to get to know Mrs. Hinojosa and be able to show her how much we appreciate her.
Oh, well, I always feel so appreciated, and thank you so much for inviting me today.
You're welcome.
Such a sweet thing you're doing for everybody and giving us time to really talk about ourselves for a few minutes. It's really
Yeah, it's not something we often get to do when you're working
no.
with the kiddos.
Right.
Well, Mrs. Hinojosa actually has a background in teaching special ed and Quest, and she also has a passion for mindset and mindfulness training, and she's done that for a number of years for teachers in our district. And this is actually her third year as a counselor at Winkley.
Love my job, living the dream.
Well, are you ready for our 10 rapid fire questions?
I am.
Okay. All right. Our first question is, what would students be surprised to find out about you?
Well, and I've told some students in the last couple of years about this, but I was actually a competitive diver for 20 years. I went to UT on scholarship, and in '92 went to Olympic trials. So it was my life. So, I really understand kiddos at our school that, they have to take off a Friday competition because I missed a lot of school as a child. And it makes you grow up real quick because you have to figure out how to manage your time, how to get things done. You miss out on, things that your friends are doing, but, you find that passion so young. It's amazing. So yeah, I was a springboard diver and used to do 3.5s off 10 meter. I mean, when I say that, kids are like, you? I'm old, so how could I possibly do?
Did you ever come across a high dive when your kids were younger and get to show off for them?
Yeah, I made a couple of mistakes because you find out as you get older, your body just doesn't cooperate the way it used to. So I did it once or twice and then just kind of hung it up. Diving is not something that you can just pick up. You really have to be physically fit and strong to be able to handle the impact, which I didn't realize until I got older. But it's not like tennis or swimming that you can just continue. But I had such great memories, and diving really, just being in a sport, a team sport, it really helped build who I am today. I really believe that, like just the dedication and the passion so young. I think it kind of led me to where I am now as a counselor, helping other kids.
That's a beautiful story. All right, number 2, how do you spend your summer breaks?
Oh, my summer breaks are always on the beach. We always go to Rosemary Beach, which is in Florida, and we spend a week there. It's our favorite place. Now, we haven't been in a couple years because I have twin girls in college, so that summer was spent getting them to college. And then, of course, last year, nobody went anywhere, but I'm looking forward to it this year. And then, I am a worker bee. I don't just hang out and read books. And I mean, I wish I did, but I am constantly working on something. So I spend a lot of time working on, building things for women like e-courses and things like that. So that's my summer. That's how I spend it. I'm always counseling.
It's your passion.
That's right.
All right. Number 3, what are some traditions or superstitions you have for the first day of school?
I don't have any superstitions, but something I always do is I dress up in like a frilly skirt. If you know me, you know that I'm always dressing way under my age. I mean, I'm really childlike, but I love that. I think it just keeps us fresh and it just adds so much happiness. But I'm usually in a tulle skirt, sometimes with a crown, just kind of getting kids to come in and smile. I mean, the first day is scary for a lot of kids. And if they can walk in and just feel that connection with me, because I work with the whole school. So, boys, girls, littles, bigs. So if they can just remember me as the silly one, I think they do. That
have seen you in your fun outfits, especially on theme days.
Oh yeah, I know. It's always something super girly, of course.
All right, number 4, is there an embarrassing teaching moment you are willing to share?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I thought through this one. I have to share it because it went along with the lesson, and it was a perfect thing that happened, and thankfully no one got hurt. But I teach this lesson called Settle Your Glitter. And it's all about, how your amygdala is activated or overactivated, and what can we do to kind of settle ourselves or calm ourselves. So I bring in a glitter jar. So literally when I say jar, I last year brought in a glass jar into a kindergarten class. And as I was walking in, I was like, something feels wrong about this today. I don't know if I should be bringing this jar in. Maybe I should have put it in a plastic bottle. Well, so I'm walking around to all the students and I'm shaking the glitter just to talk to them about that's your brain, just overactive, lots of emotions. And it slipped out of my hands and hit the table and broke.
Oh no.
And in kindergarten. And luckily no one was hurt because they were not, holding it or anything. But it was such a perfect moment just because kids were upset. They were a little freaked out because it made a mess everywhere and it was wet. But I said, okay, so right now all of our amygdalas are activated. What can we do in this moment to settle our glitter? And I walked out going, I cannot believe I just did that. But they'll remember that lesson for sure.
Yes.
Hopefully they don't associate me with, safety issues.
No, it's probably going to be that they will never get the glitter out of that classroom ever again. It's
Right.
there forever.
Right. So from here on out, it's plastic. Don't worry, parents. Never doing glass again.
Oh, goodness. All right, number 5, at the beginning of the year, how do you remember all of the students' names? Now, this is all of the students, not just a classroom.
Yeah, so I'm a very visual person. So I like to connect a face with something a child has said or a story or, so I connect it that way. And I make sure when I walk in, I repeat their name because I do have to know 700 and however many students we have. So, and I always teach that to people like, active listening, really listen to what they say, repeat it back. So it's tough though. It's still, in classes, I'm like, remind me your name, but it's hard.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that there's some part of the student population you get to interact with a little bit more and those names really concrete in.
Right. Well, and it's my 3rd year. So, the kindergartners, however long I'm at Winkley, every year will just be easier just to see them more and more.
Right. Okay. Number 6, if you could take your students on a field trip anywhere in the world, where would you take them?
How many years ago? I want to say 6 years ago, I went on a mission trip to Guatemala. And it resonated with me so deeply that I wish I could take children to Guatemala. And I visited an orphanage. So, just being somewhere where you don't speak the language is really tough. I think that's great for kids to be around. Also, just helping others. I think that would just be, teaching empathy and compassion. So if I could take students and just spend a week somewhere like Guatemala with them in an orphanage, I think that would be just a lifelong memory that they would keep, and it would transform them because it truly transformed me when I got back. I looked around at everything with just different eyes, like with more gratitude and more empathy for people that don't have a lot, or this orphanage, there were a lot of special ed students, and we had to work with them and we didn't speak their language, and it just humbles you to the core. So that is where I would take my students for sure.
That would be a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
Number 7, what is your first memory from school?
Nap time. Oh, nap time was huge for me. Like, I don't know, there was just this cozy feeling of being able to rest during my day, and the stillness and quiet in the room. I can remember it. I can remember the smells connected with laying on the mat. I mean, it's silly, but for some reason that just resonates with me. And then ornaments, like making handmade ornaments around Christmas time, because back then, we had so many more things like that. Christmas trees in each classroom and all of that. So I remember arts and crafts,
Yeah.
huge for me, which, growing up, I didn't do a whole lot of arts and crafts on my own, but now I'm a really creative person. So it must have been there all along, right? Like I was enjoying it at school and now I do it on my own. But yeah.
It's because you make a lot of like flowers out of paper and things like that, right?
I do. I just find things that help me decompress from work. And I find, journaling, drawing, making crepe paper, whatever it is, it's such a slow, repetitive process. It's that mindful time for me. So I always advocate, and I do a lot of crafts with my kids when in counseling, a lot of crafts, because I really feel like, using your hands, connecting with your brain, it makes a deeper connection. So, and some kids don't want to do it, but then for the most part, I think it's just a better visual, just tactile. So everything I teach kids, I live. And that's what makes the job so beautiful for me, because I'm truly living out my purpose and what I believe in. So the kids get a lot of creativity from me. So like right now we're working on vision boards. And I just love that and I'm doing that with third, fourth, and fifth, because it really taps into their strengths. It really helps them identify what they want to grow in and create SMART goals, and then create that visual to fit in their home on their walls so that they can see themselves daily. Okay, this is what I want to achieve this year, and this is what I'm good at, because I'm so passionate about training kids to really believe in themselves and really find the good in the day and not just focus on what's not going right. So mindset is really a huge part of my job.
Love that. Number 8, if you could grow up in any decade, which would you choose? With your love of clothes, I'm interested in hearing this answer.
It would not be the 70s. I did not like the clothes in the 70s. I would say 40s. I love the music, the clothes, the romance. Like, we just don't have that anymore. And I mean, to this day, I listen to Frank Sinatra and Michael Bublé and Nat King Cole. Like, that's what I listen to, because it just takes you back to a different age of simplicity. I mean, I would have loved to have dressed up and gone out to dinner and gone to dinner theater. Like, I really think I was born in the wrong decade.
And then you would have had, like, in the 40s when they had still worn corsets and things of that sort.
Yeah. I don't know. There was just so much more detail. And emphasis on formality. We don't have formality anymore. I don't even see a lot of people dressing up for church anymore. I grew up, I was taught like this, you dress up for this, you dress up when you get on a plane. I still dress up when I travel. It's like, my kids going to college, they wear shorts every day. They don't ever dress up. I mean,
remember the days you dressed up if you went on a plane? I remember that too.
Yeah.
All right, number 9, is there a quote or saying that you live your life by?
Oh, okay. So I love Henry David Thoreau, the poet. So the quote, "It's the beauty within us that makes it possible for us to recognize the beauty around us. The question is not what you look at, but what you see." I love that, because like I said, I am constantly talking to kids about mindset, and you're in control of your life. Like, you can make it what you want to make it. That's why you really have to every day see the little things as big things. Like, just lean into gratitude, be thankful every day, say it, read it, write it, and it just changes who you are and your outlook. It makes you more empathetic, makes you more compassionate. And I don't know about you, but we need a lot more of that in the world right now. And our littles right now, they really need that practice, and they need that modeling from us.
Someday we'll have to have a talk about how do you make that, like, how do you instill that as a daily habit, even as as adults. I think that's all something that we can learn.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm passionate about. Absolutely.
All right, and our last question: in which other teacher's class would you like to enroll, even for a day, and why?
Okay, so this was hard for me, because I was thinking I love all the teachers at our school, so I'm going to pick someone outside of the school.
Okay.
I'm going to say, have you ever heard of Dr. Kristen Neff?
No.
She's a UT professor who has a doctorate in self-compassion. She's
Okay.
like my idol. I would love to go get a doctorate in self-compassion.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I'm too old to go back to school, so I'm not going to do that. But if I could just sit in her classes and just listen to her, I mean, if I could just focus in on that, which, as a counselor, I get to do that every day. It really is a dream job. But it would be her class. If I could just take one of her classes, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Or you could just go sneak in one day.
I know. Well, my daughter goes to UT. I'm like, you've got to take her class. I mean, it could be a great elective. I think
Yeah.
everybody should have that class in
Yeah.
their elective wheel. Seriously. I think we should have it in high school, honestly. We should
Yeah.
be teaching this really young.
Yeah.
Taking care of yourself.
Yes. I think we all need a daily course in taking care of ourselves.
Yeah. Life's getting crazier and busier and harder. So
Yes.
need
Well,
this
thank
out.
you for joining us today. I feel like
Well,
we've learned a lot.
yeah, inviting
Learned a
me.
lot about you, and I think that our Winkley community will feel a little bit closer and now getting to know you a little bit better.
Great. Well, thank you for having me.